Very good afternoon, students. Welcome to online class section. This is Aisha Sultana, Assistant Professor of AC Department from ISL Engineering College. In this semester, in 7th semester of your final year, I am going to take the subject of embedded systems for you people. So today is the first class. I am giving an introduction of all the brief explanation of all the topics which you are having in the embedded systems, all the 5 units, what are they, what you are going to see in this embedded systems. I hope this subject also is very interesting for you people. Okay, let's get started with the introduction part. So this is an overview, like what you will be having in these embedded systems. I have given all the 5 units names over here. I'll give a brief explanation about all the 5 chapters that you will be seeing in the embedded systems. The very first chapter you will be seeing the introduction of your embedded systems. So you might be knowing what is actually embedded systems, that we will see in the next slides of today's class. So first, in the first chapter, you will see the classifications of your embedded systems. What are the different kinds of classifications you are having? Then what are the embedded system processor is there? How the software and hardware are merged? Then what are the processors that are used in the embedded systems? How they are designed? How these embedded systems is actually designed on chip? Then how this whole design processor will be going on? And what are the challenges that you will be facing when you are dumping your software into the processor? Then you are combining both your hardware as well as the software. In the first chapter, we will see all about the introduction of your embedded systems, about its classification and software, hardware, processing, dumping, everything. Okay, so first chapter is all about that one. In the second chapter, typical embedded systems means it is all about the fundamentals, like what fundamentals, which kind of processor you are using in this one. So here we are taking an ARM processor, and what are the concepts of RISC in that one. Then we will see registers, status registers, execution interrupts. Then you will be seeing data processing instructions over there, and in this how your software will be getting interrupted. Then what you will be having this program status registers, all about the register, status register, everything a concept completely related to your ARM processor, nothing your microprocessor, right? So everything we will be seeing in this one along with your RISC concepts. So second chapter is all about the fundamentals of your processor, and as well as the typical embedded systems, how it is related, how it is used when your processor is also used in your hardware and software. What actually we are having there, how many kinds of register, how memory is used, how they are stored, everything that all are in your second chapter. In third chapter, communication interface. Yeah, by the name itself you know what is meant by communication, how we are going. You will, last semester we have read about communication, right? So here also, but here what are the communication ports, interfacing, how you are interfacing your input and as well as the output, how this communication link will be developed in your input as well as the output, that we have to see. So by using USB connections, by using CAN, by using IEEE 1394, and we will be seeing bus standards over there. Serial port interrupts we will also seeing for the communication purpose. Then high-speeded buses are there. Then advanced serial high-speed buses will be there, that we will also be seeing in the communication interface. Then we will also be going through TCP/IP protocols, which are very important for your communication interface. Then Ethernet, then HTTP protocols, hypertext link protocols. So everything about your communication interface, when it is then your information is transferred from transmitter to the receiver, and how both hardware and software are being used or dumped, and how this will be linked with the two-way communication. Everything will be seen in the third chapter. So when it comes to the fourth chapter, you are having embedded firmware design. And firmware is nothing but software, embedded software design and its development. How actually you are developing a software, we have to see there. So embedded software design you will be seeing there. Then co-design issues, what are the issues you will be facing when you are designing the software. Okay, then what are the software tools that are used for designing a software. Firmware is nothing but your software. So we will see all software related issues, what are the software designs, what are the software tools we are using here in the embedded system, that are all in your fourth chapter. And last come to your fifth chapter, that is just testing, simulation and debugging techniques and and tools. Okay, how you are integrating and testing the embedded system hardware, then what are the testing models that are used, or what are the testing methods that are used, then how you are debugging the information from the hardware part, and what are the where the laboratory which are used, what are the tools which are used for this one. All these are discussed in the 5th chapter. So overall, in the overall embedded systems, so for first what you are having, first you're getting an introduction overview of embedded system, the history, what are how many categorized they are, how many classifications they are, will be seeing in that one. In second chapter, all the fundamentals, means about your memory. Of course you need a memory, then about your register, status registers, then what are the processor you are used, how that processor will be used for your software, what kind of interrupts that will be occurring in the second chapter. Third chapter is all about your communication interface, how we will be using this communication, this embedded system, how you can use it for your communication purpose. Okay, up to 3 that you have seen. Then afterwards you have to see how you are designing the software. So you are how design, what are the tools that you require, what are the issues that will be occurring when you design a software. That way, after all this one you are running, means everything you have prepared, then you have to see that particular application is running or not. So for in the last chapter we will see how testing simulation will be done, we have to test over there, then how debugging techniques are there, how you are extracting that particular input data, what you have dumped in there, and what are the tools required for dumping or taking all the information. So this is overall about your embedded systems overview in this semester, what you are going to see in the 5 chapters. I hope you are clear with that. So let's just start with the first unit, introduction of your embedded systems. By the name itself, embedded system, what you get an idea about that one? So embedded system is nothing but, in general definition, it is nothing but a combination of your hardware as well as the software, and that is attached with some peripherals to perform a specific task. Actually embedded system is nothing but, it's just combining your hardware and the software. So I have given a figure over here to just know what are the embedded systems. Nowadays everyone knows your PSP, PlayStation, it is having a hardware, your keyboards, display, everything, that is your hardware. Software inbuilt, you have already a software that will be showing you are playing the games, how you are getting all that. So you are dumping by using a processor, a chip, you are dumping on that one, you are dumping the software, and that is attached to your hardware. So it is an example of your embedded system. So this different kinds of printer is there, scanner is there, then you are having computer, then camera, that is also good example for your embedded systems, then PlayStations, mobiles, everything these are your embedded systems. Okay, so I'll just read it out the definition. An embedded system is a combination of your hardware and software with some attached peripherals to perform a specific task or a narrow range of tasks with the restricted resources. Of course, we will be having restricted resources. As if of your computer, how many resources? You have lots of resources, but here with some restricted resources. See, if you consider camera, only 2 to 3 resources. For display, small option is there. For capturing, one more option is there. But there are not so many resources. Again, if you go for the PlayStation, you will be having only display and a keypad to operate all these functions of the software, right? So with some restricted resources, we are performing the specific task. And what actually important things we are having, it is a microcontroller based. Of course, it is a microcontroller based, software driven, reliable, real-time controlling system. So this is also one of the definition of your embedded systems. So in case of 2 marks, if an examiner asks you the question what actually the embedded system is, so what you will write? I'll give us I have given an answer for that question also. So what is an embedded system? Is nothing but electronic or electromechanical system which is designed to perform a specific function and is combination of both hardware and firmware. Firmware is nothing but your software, correct? So what are the examples will we take? It is electronic toys. Best example is your remote control cars, right? So that is electronic device, or a robots, the toy robots, then mobile handset, washing machines, that are the good example of your hardware as well as the software, right? Air conditions, automotive control units, set-top boxes, DVD players, CD players, everything that are your embedded systems. There you are having a microcontroller in that one. Okay, so these are all your embedded systems examples. Electronic device or electromechanical system which is designed to perform a specific function, and it is combination of both hardware as well as the software. In case of washing machine, you are having a software in that one, a microcontroller will be there. It is programmed to a certain level. It will giving a different options, either to dry wash, either to wash, either for washing for the baby cares, everything for different options we have given, because we are having limited sources and limited output also will be having, right? So embedded system is all about specific function with limited resources with a combination of both hardware as well as the software. I hope you are clear with embedded systems definition. Now just see the block diagram of your embedded systems. What actually you are having in the embedded system? A processor or the microcontroller, which is very important for your embedded system. Then the input devices, you are having a memory for storage of the data, whatever you are dumping, whatever the software you are writing over here, and the output device. Either it may be a display, either it may be a loudspeaker or the speakers, etc. Whatever it may be, these are the output devices. Suppose what are the input devices? Can anyone tell? You might be knowing. If it was a class, somewhat some of the students might have given the answer. So input devices are nothing but I can give example of keyboards, that are the inputs, right? And the memory, why we are considering to store the data, software we are writing, where we have to write this store this software, right? So it is the memory where you are storing the data, what are the registers, whatever there, everything will be present in that one. All the software related things will be there in the memory. These both are given, this the whatever the output which we are getting from the input devices and the memory that are given to the microprocessor or the controller, which in terms gives you the output, the expected, the application specific output you will be getting here. So I have given listed out what are the some of the input output devices and what are the processor which we are used here in the embedded system block diagram. Okay, so in the embedded system consists of certain input devices such as your keyboards, switches, sensor, actuators, etc. Keyboards, obviously for PlayStation you need a keyboard. Switches also we need a keyboard. Okay, sensors for everyone, what we say, for oven, microwave oven, we need a sensor. Okay, these are the different kinds of examples input devices that are used here in this embedded system. Now what will be the output devices? As we have already said, displays, buzzers, there also we can get a sensors. Sensors can also be used both at the hard inputs devices as well as at the output devices. Display, obviously you will get a display. Buzzer sound, when you are using a remote control car, you will getting a sound. Lights, LEDs is also there for showing the lights when you are applying the input. When your input key is pressed, it will be moving forward. Okay, stepper motors will be also be used along with LEDs also used, along with buzzers also used to give a sound, right? So there are different kinds of output devices. Some of them I have given over here. And the processor. The processor along with the control program embedded in the off-chip or on-chip memory, it is used, and a real-time operating system will be used. Operating system, OS, is also, it's not compulsory that you should have an operating system in every embedded system device. It is based on application specific. If there is an application which require an OS, then in that condition only we are using. Okay, real-time operating system. So we are having a processor, on-chip or off-chip memory will be there, and a real-time operating system is also there. Okay, so these are your input devices, output devices, as well as your operating systems. Clear? Then next, what are the characteristics? See, embedded systems have some characteristics that are very important, and these characteristics you should know to get a successful final project. Okay, whatever the product you are preparing or some application you are preparing, so these are the things that you have to keep in mind for getting a successful final product. Okay, the first one is single functionality. Of course, there is embedded system is of only single functionality, no other functions at a time that can be performed. If you are using a PlayStation, we are only playing. If you are using a washing machine example, so it is only washing, right? Then if you are going for a microwave or a oven, it is only baking by using some microwave technologies. So that is the first characteristics of your embedded system. Then second one is your no reprogrammability. Once your program or the software you have dumped in the processor, there is no reprogrammability. After, even if the input or the receiver or the transmitter side or whoever the end receiver is there, it cannot be reprogrammed. So there is no reprogrammability in your embedded systems. And third comes to your security. Security is the very important thing that has to be considered as one of the characteristics of your embedded system, and it should be very reliable so that every can be used, and it is not dependent on any other devices. Then it has to be robustness. It should be very robust and very efficiently used in terms of your cost, weight, energy, size and speed. These are the efficient things that you have to consider whenever you are preparing a product, and for the success of that particular product you have to consider all these things. The first very thing is cost. You have to keep in mind how much cost you are using. Everyone is able to take that one, and weight is also very good consideration for the efficiency of your embedded system, and the energy or the power which is being used in that one, and the size of your embedded system. Like your PlayStation is there, if we are considering the size, we cannot use such a big size of PlayStations, right? So for that one we have to consider the size and the speed of your embedded system. What is the speed? It is efficiently speed enough or not to your particular application. So these are the things that you have to consider whenever you are preparing an embedded system. These are the important characteristics. So designing the system to meet these characteristics is very, very important for your success of your final product. Whatever the product you are preparing, either it may be a toy, software related, both combination of your hardware, software, toy, either it may be a mobile phone, either it may be a tab, either it may be a microwave, either it may be a washing machine, whatever it may be. So these are the characteristics that you have to see for a good or fine successful product. In case if you are not dumped a proper programmer there, once it is dumped you cannot change the programmability. So that's the reason you have to see all these characteristics. You have to check the reliability, you have to check the security of that one, then only you are going for the final product. So these are the characteristics of your embedded systems. I hope it is very clear. Now just see what actually the embedded system is there and what actually general purpose computing or the general computing systems are there. We'll quickly see some differences so that it will be very clear what actually the embedded system is there. So in general purpose computing system we will be having an operating system for sure. So without that operating system there is no general purpose computing system. Variety of applications can be operated at a time by using your operating system, but as we have already discussed there, the system is a combination of specific purpose hardware. If you are preparing a microwave, we need different kinds of hardware. If you are preparing a PlayStation, we need different hardware. So it is not a specific purpose. All at a time we cannot use all the applications. So this system is a combination of your specific purpose hardware and embedded OS for executing a specific set of applications. I am having only some set of application. If I consider what we will say PlayStation, I have only the application as to move, play or fight in the display, right? But if I consider for any other application like microwave, it has to just heat up, it has to bake, right? So that are the specific set of application that have to be used, and the hardware is completely different for every application. So this is a difference between your general purpose computing system as well as your embedded system. In the second one comes here, it has a general purpose operating system, where in the embedded systems you are not having a general purpose hardware operating system. It completely depends upon the application whether it requires or not. And the third very important is application are alterable, means they are programmable. If there is any error, we are reprogramming that one, we are running that one. If you are having anything, we'll compile once again, we'll recheck, and again once we go for the reprogramming. But in the software of embedded system, when it is programmed, then there is no alterable, or it cannot be altered by any end of the users. So it is very important characteristic that once if you are designing, when you are going for the program, it should be very clear and it should be errorless. So the software of this embedded system is pre-programmed and it is not alterable by any of end users. Clear? And third one, and the next one is it is faster and as well as it's better. Of course, computing system is software, or it is faster and better, but it is as it is an application specific requirement. It is depending completely on the performance of your power requirements that you have to see. Then again you are having memory usage. Then what are the requirements, the memory, how much memory you require, what are the power is required for you. These are all your key deciding factors in that one. So this is a big difference between your general purpose computing system as well as your embedded system. And the next one is response requirements are not time critical, because here we are not having any particular time. Easily we can reprogram, then after again you can compile, again you can recheck, again you can reprogram. But here in this category of embedded system, it's like mission critical system. So in that particular time this has to be operated. Whenever you are pressing a key, this output has to be displayed. Whenever you are giving this input, in that particular time you have to get the output. So it is completely mission critical system, and the response of this requirement is highly critical. Okay, and the last difference of these two is need not to be deterministic in execution behavior. It should not be very particular that you have to get this output in this time only in the general purpose. But where it comes to embedded system, it should be deterministic for certain type of embedded system, and mainly like in what you'll say hardware real-time systems, there should be a execution behavior should be very deterministic. So this was the difference between your general purpose computing systems as well as your embedded systems. So I hope in today's class you are very clear with this introduction of embedded systems. What are the what is the definitions, where you are using this one, and what are the difference between general purpose system and embedded system. What is the block diagram, why you are using what kind of processor you are using, what are the inputs, what are the outputs, what are the processor and the memory which are used in the embedded systems. Okay, and the difference between your general purpose computing system and embedded system. In next class we will see the classifications and the history of the embedded systems. I hope you are clear. In case of any doubts, please let me know. So for today's class we will end up to here. Thank you.